Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing a little bit of a garden vlog. I'm going to be doing some seeds starting. Now I'm not doing all of my seeds. I have a calendar for that, but I am going to get some greens going and some tomatoes today. Now I'm not using seed starting mix. I'm using Vermont compost. According to their bag, you don't have to do any fertilizing until the roots of the plant have completely filled their little starter pot. This stuff is nice and fluffy, and there's no big pieces of sticks, and I think it's going to work really well. You can see that I kind of laid out a map of my garden plan. I did one of my whole property for some additional plants that I'm adding this year, and then one of the garden itself. And I also made myself a little calendar leading up to our last frost date. Our predicted last frost date is around April 8th, and I'm in Zone 7A in Western Kentucky. So I just color coded what I'm going to start inside and what I'm going to start outside. I suffer from analysis paralysis, and this was just the best way for me to actually make things happen. So I'm starting my seeds in my office because it's the one room of the house my cats cannot have access to. If you have cats or you've had cats, you already know they will dig up your seedlings. So this is the safest place in the house for them. This is just an old table, stuck it in the corner of the room with some lights. You know, this is only my second year gardening, and I could be doing this completely wrong, but, you know, we learn as we grow, and hopefully you're here to learn with me. So I'm just going to loosely fill these pots. I'm not going to pack the soil in really tightly, and I did pre-moisten the soil just till it sort of held together when I squeezed it, but it wasn't dripping. And once I get all of my little starter pots here filled, we'll get started with the seeds. You'll notice I'm not using the tiny seed trays. I wanted to plant one seed per cell, and I didn't want to have to call it anything. I hate that. I don't know, maybe I'm weird. I just hate the idea of cutting off a plant. So I'm gonna start with my Ruby Monster tomatoes. I'm doing several of these, and I'm really excited about these seeds. I got them from Gurney's, and they're supposed to make like just these monster-sized tomatoes, which are really good for canning. So if they work out, I'm definitely going to be making a lot of sauce this year. So I'm just going to put one seed per hole, and I'm going to lightly cover them. After I plant each seed or grouping of seeds, I make sure that I label them because I had a couple of mishaps last year where I had some things that didn't get labeled. And then I didn't know that the sun would fade Sharpie marker, and so pretty much every single thing in my whole entire garden was a mystery. I knew what it was, but I didn't know the variation. So this year I went ahead and just got me some wax pencils. You can get a big old package of them on Amazon for like $6. These things are going to last me forever. And they'll hold up to the sun, so, you know, like I said, we learn as we grow. So I'm going to go ahead and get these tomatoes labeled. And I just put, you know, what they are, how many are in the row, and the date that I planted them, so I have some kind of idea about germination time. And then I'm going to move on to these spoon tomatoes. Now I got these spoon tomatoes from Baker Creek as a free seed gift. I probably won't be ordering any more seeds from Baker Creek because I ordered my seeds before I was aware that they had a bit of a history, and I've just decided that their values don't line up with my values, and I'll use what I already have, but I won't be purchasing from them again. It's just a personal preference. We don't have a lot of control over a lot of things in this world, but we do have control over where we spend our money. So just keep that in mind when you're seed shopping. Now I'm going to move on to this other tray. And in this tray, I'm going to be planting cabbage, bok choy, 2 types of kale, and some spinach. So I'm going to start with the Napa cabbage and then move on to the bok choy. I happen to like both, and this year I have some hopes and dreams of, you know, making some kimchi from homegrown Napa cabbage, so we'll see how that plays out. Could be a video on that, who knows? Cross your fingers. And if you're curious about my little map of my garden that I made, I actually just made that in Canva. I know there are a lot of gardening apps that are either free or you can pay to use, but I got bored one night and I'm already paying for Canva, and I said, what the heck? So I just sit down and just made a map of my property. But if you're looking to do something like that, there are a lot of resources out there for gardeners. And I think it's a really good idea, just so you know what you have going on. And you can add to it every year. Our weather here recently has just been kind of all over the place. So my goal is for my vlog next week to give you guys a tour of the actual outside garden. It's in pretty rough shape right now. The wind beat up my fence over the winter, so that's going to need repaired, but it'll give you a basic idea of what I'm working with out there. And I can show you my garlic and where I intend to put my blackberries when they come in March. Weather permitting, of course. I also have 80 onion starts I'm waiting for that should come around the same time as my blackberries, so I'm really looking forward to that. So I've just planted 2 blue curled Scotch kale plants. I'm going to go ahead and get those labeled. And now I'm moving on to my dinosaur kale. We really like kale in this family, not so much fresh, but in soups or kale chips. Fantastic. I'm also doing 2 giant noble spinach plants. I'm going to try to make the most out of the spring this year. It gets hot here in Kentucky really fast. We don't have like a full spring. So anything like this that you want to get in the ground, you got to do it pretty early to actually get something out of it. I'm not doing lettuce right now, but I am kind of thinking about starting some lettuce in the house just for like fresh eating. Just cut it and as we need it. But I haven't decided yet. I'm going to give all of these seeds a good drink of water with the spray bottle, and once they're bigger, I'll bottom water. But for now, I'm just going to use the spray bottle so I don't move the seeds around. And I don't have greenhouse domes, so I'm just going to lay a piece of cling wrap, saran wrap, over top to keep some of the humidity and the moisture. And as you can see, it's already fogging up. My seedlings would dry out pretty quickly in the house because I have the furnaces on, so I want to keep those guys nice and wet. But here's another look at my, garden planner. Like I said, I just use Canva. These are all the seeds that we still have to go through this gardening season, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, I'm going to try to post another one next week, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, you guys. Happy gardening.